Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So, welcome back to our Bernard Business Consulting Live Ask Me Anything. So, today I have a new speaker or partner here with me today. So, his name is Shu Hong. Maybe Shu Hong, do you want to introduce yourself first?
Sure. So I'm Shu Hong, also one of the ESG and Sustainability Consultant from BBC, just like Jiaxin. Yeah, so what I do in BBC is helping companies to develop their sustainability strategy. And yeah, it's like the reducing their carbon emissions or help them to develop their ESG roadmap. Yeah, so on. So basically, I just stick with the customer and support them throughout this journey of sustainability. Yes.
Okay. So if you can listen loud and clear of what Shu Hong has introduced about himself, so you can put in the chat, let me know that you hear us. So you can put number 1, okay? So let us know that who is on the chat with us, okay? All right. So I think every time when we organize this live, right, we'll have our loyal, our very lovely audience who stick to us since the first live. I think it started back in last year. Okay, and so you guys are very familiar with the event flow. So for our new audience who join us today, so I will briefly guide you through on what will happen in this 45 minutes. Okay, so first we'll start off with a simple presentation to make sure that everyone is on the same page. We are discussing about a topic. So for today, it's about carbon trading. And then it will followed by a Q&A session. Okay, so please remember if you have any questions before the event or during our presentation, just put it up in the comment if you are joining us from LinkedIn or you're joining us from YouTube. So just put it in the comment and we will answer it one by one after that. Okay? All right. So if you're ready, I say we are ready, it's okay if you're having lunch in front of the laptop listening to our live, or you just finished, come back from lunch, maybe have a coffee. So just enjoy our live. Okay? All right. So we'll start off with a simple presentation. Okay, I will have Shu Hong to put up the slides here. Okay. All right, so if you can see the slides on your screen, please give me a number 2. Okay, please give me a number 2 if you can see the slide on our screen. Okay, so yeah, I saw those who have joined us and say hi. Oh, hi Jingwen, Loon, and then we have Albert. Okay, so I think our audience are ready. So let's begin.
Sure.
Okay, so I will do a simple introduction of what is carbon trading. All right, but before that, Shu Hong, I know that you posted a poll on your LinkedIn profile last week. Do you want to tell us more about the poll?
Yeah, sure. So about the poll, it's about what do you want to know about carbon trading. So most of them voted the carbon trading in Malaysia.
Okay.
So we are going to talk about this today. But other than that, we'll also talk about what is carbon trading and how it works in Malaysia and how can businesses benefit from this carbon trading. Lastly, how can Malaysian business be prepared for it?
Wow, looks like it will be a very fruitful session. So yeah, then now if our audience is wondering, wow, such good show on LinkedIn and YouTube, when will be the next one? So mark your calendar now, it's on 19th of September, okay? Same time, it's on a Thursday from 1:15 p.m. to 2 p.m., okay? And we'll reveal the topic on our LinkedIn page. So make sure to follow our LinkedIn page, Bernard Business Consulting. Okay, so are you ready?
Ready.
Let's begin.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is carbon trading? Now let's look at these two words, carbon and trading. Carbon, okay, if I think we learned about what is carbon. It's a C with the element alphabet C. It's something that I think basically everything you can touch, you can feel there'll be a carbon element in your something that you can touch lah. So, but this carbon, we can see the climate change expertise, the ESG and sustainability expert, they use the word carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide is greenhouse gas, right? And then there are also other 6 types of greenhouse gases. So we want to somehow like summarize or make sure that we are using the same measurement lah. So we call it CO2, carbon dioxide equivalent. So this carbon actually means CO2. And now we look at the other word, trading. So trading for businessmen, very simple. We buy and sell lah, in a simple word, okay? So like last time we buy and sell gold, we buy and sell palm oil, we buy and sell rubber, cocoa, timber, a lot of things you can buy and sell, okay? So now we are buying and selling carbon, which is something that we cannot see, cannot touch, cannot smell. I don't even know what carbon smells like, okay? But I'm trading something that I cannot see. So this looks like something quite interesting. How are we going to measure something that we cannot see, cannot touch, cannot smell, right? Okay, so let's follow us through. So why do we want to do this carbon trading? So we can see that this initiative, this idea started, I would say, from the finance, from the government. So government, they want to use this carbon trading as a tool, okay? It's a tool to financially incentivize businesses to lower carbon emissions. Because if today you tell one businessman, you need to reduce your carbon emission because we need to save the environment, do you think they will understand? No. Then if you tell them like this, you can use carbon trading to sell the emissions that you avoided, you reduce, you remove, and you can get money from it. Wow. Now I can see the eyes of the businessman will sparkle, you know. That is something that they are interested, okay? So now, another thing. So why would a company wants to participate in this carbon trading? So usually it happens to, if I say in the voluntarily lah, big companies, MNCs, they will have a pledge. They want to achieve net zero in year 2050. Or they want to achieve carbon neutrality target. So of course there will be some hard to abate emissions that they try to reduce, they crack their head to reduce, but they still cannot reduce to zero. So they need to buy this thing called carbon credit. So carbon credit is like our currency lah. You buy and sell using the carbon credit, okay, to offset their emissions, okay. So this is the voluntary kind of initiative lah, because it's not forced. Not every company is forced to achieve carbon neutral, right? Okay, all right. So these are the 2 reasons why government wants to implement this and why companies would want to participate in carbon trading. Okay, now, so we might wonder how carbon trading work. So basically, carbon trading, now we have 2 types of market. The first one, we call it voluntary carbon market. So it's related to the example that I mentioned just now. With a carbon credit, you buy and sell voluntarily, you're not forced. If you want to achieve your carbon neutral target, that is the way to go. One of the way to offset your emissions. And there's another market called compliance market. So like in the EU, they call it emissions trading scheme, ETS. Or in a more general concept, it's called cap and trade, okay? So we'll explain in detail in our next slides. Okay, since I believe most of our audience are in Malaysia, because BBC is, our company is based in Malaysia, okay? So our audience would want to know, okay, what is happening? What is the carbon trading happening in Malaysia right now? So currently in this stage, we have the voluntary carbon market, which is by Bursa Carbon Exchange. So Bursa Malaysia is our national securities exchange, and now they are also starting up this carbon market. Okay, so there are 2 types of product that you can buy and sell on BCX. It's called carbon credit and also renewable energy certificates. So this platform, BCX, they started their first carbon credit auction last year in March. But the carbon credit projects are based outside of Malaysia, because I believe Malaysia, we are still catching up with the trend of carbon projects. But this year, we finally have our made in Malaysia Malaysian proud carbon credit project It's called Kwamut Rainforest Conservation Project, which is located in Sabah. So they are selling the carbon credit at 50 ringgit per contract. So one carbon credit equals to 1 tons of this carbon dioxide equivalent. Okay. Okay, so now here is some challenges to this. Okay, so I would say two major challenges about the transparency and accountability. So just now you mentioned that this carbon we cannot see, cannot smell, cannot touch. So in terms of how you measure how much carbon emissions removed, avoided, or reduced from your carbon project, it needs a very high level of transparency on the documentation, on the calculation, on the methodology that you use. So then here comes the accountability. The project proponent will have the responsibility that makes sure you're using the right methodology, and you will have to appoint a third-party verification body to make sure that what you did is correct, is up to the standards, it's credible. Okay, so of course, when we look at a carbon project, most of the time we'll think from it from an environmental aspect. Wow, this carbon project will help to mitigate climate change. So when we are too focused on the environmental part of it, sometimes we will overlook the social, because ESG, right, environment, social governance, we will overlook the social part. So here is two examples that I would want to share with our audience today. So the first one is the Southern Cardamom Red Plus project. So this is a carbon credit project that is auctioned on BCX last year, but it is suspended by Vera already. So meaning that if those companies that already bought carbon credit from this project now, they get the return, they cannot claim the carbon credit anymore. That is because Vera found out that there's some human rights violation against the indigenous community. Okay, so because most of the nature-based carbon projects, they use up a big piece of land. So in that piece of land, there are some existing residents who live their whole life there. So it's like the indigenous community. So during the project proposal stage, you will need to get the approval agreement from people who stay in that area before you start your project. Okay, so when this thing happened, the project commenced before they get some total approval or agreement from the people, then this kind of I would say conflict will happen. So the same goes to the second case, which is the Murun Dam REC project. So this is a renewable energy certificate project in Malaysia. So okay, so this is in Sarawak, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so it still falls back to the same problem, the same challenge, which is the people. So the land, the big piece of land is owned, okay. Of course, the landowner is maybe the government or other private entity, but the people, the community who lived on the land, their survival, their resources all depends on the land. So when we want to start the environmental project, of course, every time we also need to consider the social, the society part. So this is a reminder to companies out there. So if let's say you are interested to buy carbon credits or renewable energy certificates from those projects that are already listed on the exchange, then is make sure that you can do your own research. Yeah, because usually they will put up some documents on the registry, and you need to make sure that you study do your own independent evaluation. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I have talked about the voluntary carbon market in Malaysia. What about the compliance market? Maybe I'll invite Shu Hong to explain to you.
Sure. So about the compliance carbon market, the Malaysia Carbon Market Association (MCMA) was officially launched 2 weeks ago. So one of the goals is to contribute to the formulation of national policies to ensure that compliance carbon market, take note, compliance carbon market and voluntary carbon market can function properly. So they mentioned the compliance carbon market here. So from this information, we know that Malaysia is actually preparing for their compliance carbon market. So other than that, from the founding members, we can also see that other than Bursa Malaysia, there are also energy industries, oil and gas industry, agriculture, forestry. So I have a question on this. Like, why are these industry, why are these companies are involved in these founding members in this committee? So there are some possibilities. The first one, maybe these industries will be the first batch of industries that cover under this compliance carbon market. Or maybe, maybe the MCMA just needs their help to prevent or to generate more carbon credits to be traded in the carbon market. So, yeah.
I recognize one of the members here, Synergy. Like yesterday, I attended the International Sustainable Energy Summit at KLCC. So I met one of the people from the sustainability department. So I understand that they are also trying, because they are generate electricity from the renewable energy sources and sell the electricity to our TMB then they're also exploring how to make it into carbon credits, how to make it into a REC, etc. So I understand like your point where you come from, the questions that you have in your mind.
Yep. So next one is, so just now we mentioned all of this. So based on the information that we know that this compliance carbon market might be the future of carbon trading in Malaysia. So we need to figure it out. How does it work?
Okay, so if it's compliance market, meaning is company have to take part.
They have to take.
Oh, there's no choice for them to not take part.
This is mandatory.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I will take the EU ETS as an example. Like the method that this ETS use is called cap and trade system. So means that the government will set an emissions cap and issue the emissions allowance to the market, to the companies. So if the company exceed the cap set by government, they need to buy this allowance from the companies with lower emissions. So this is what we call cap and trade. This system. So basically for this compliance carbon market, normally it will start from some carbon intensive industries. For example, in the EU ETS, the industries cover under this compliance carbon market include like the manufacturing, like the iron and steel, cement, electricity, aviation, maritime, and so on. So how about Malaysia? Maybe it will start with the industry that I mentioned just now in the MCMA industries, founding members.
Okay, that could be a possibility.
That could be a possibility.
Yeah.
So we will see in the coming future. So so we're talking about this ETS. What are the challenges faced by ETS? Okay, this is actually the same challenges faced by the EU ETS. The first one, determining the allocation of emissions allowance. So this is actually very hard because if the government, they allocated too many allowance to the market, it will lead to a lower carbon price in the market because the supply is too much. So it will further cause a failure to incentivize the low carbon innovation.
I see.
So other than that, because this carbon market can also be affected by the economy. Let's say if we are facing an economic crisis, it will lead to a lower production. Then it will further cause the consequences like the oversupply of allowance, lower carbon price, and a failure to incentivize.
Okay.
So for example, this carbon price in the EU ETS now is around 73 euros per ton. But in the historical data, due to the economic fluctuations, it can be as low as 30 to 50 euros per ton, or as high as over 100 euros per ton. The range is quite big actually.
Okay, so I think for this, I understand. So that's why I think our government is trying to make sure that most of the companies in every industry will start to report their carbon emissions so that our government will have an idea of what is the average carbon emissions from each industry, because you cannot say that, okay, for cement industry, for iron and steel industry, I give the same cap, because it's totally unfair to them.
Yes.
So I can see why now our government and also the stock exchanges, they are trying to, I would say, encourage or somehow force our companies to disclose their scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 emissions.
Yep. So actually other than that, the third challenge will be the enforceability at the international level. Like we know that each countries have different degree of environmental protection, and they also have different economic interests. So it's very hard to like agree on the common standard of that. Each countries, they have to develop their own national policy on that. Yeah. So the developing a national policy, I would say that this is very important for a country to maintain this carbon market and make sure this carbon market is really beneficial to the climate change.
Yeah.
So now we're talking about the business.
Okay.
Yeah, I think most of you are interested in this. Like, how can businesses benefit from this carbon trading? So for this case, like the company A sell its allowance to company B, so they can generate more additional income from that. Then after that, the company A can use this money to enhance the operation or to reduce the emissions by introducing the green technologies. Yeah, this is for company A. How about company B? If this company B, they can manage to monitor or to reduce the carbon emissions before the compliance carbon market is here. So they get to reduce the potential costs and penalties. So for this overall, I would suggest that we cannot see this carbon market as a burden to business, because this is also an opportunity, or I would say that this is an investment to help company to reduce potential compliance costs and generate more additional income from that. All right, now we're talking about how can businesses be prepared for it. So first one, of course, stay abreast of the latest news. Make sure keep yourself updated with the trends and the news so that you understand what is happening now, so you can be prepared in advance. And other than that, you need to think critically and verify the information, because nowadays the media only show you what they want you to believe. So it's very important to really think independently, and you can trust, but you need to verify the information so that you can find out the truth beyond this information. Yeah. Other than that, build a strong team is also very important. Like the commitment must come from the top. This means that this is actually the similar as the principle of ESG. All the policies, rules, and regulation, they have to start from the top. So yeah, they need to really integrate the sustainability into their strategy so that the subordinate can follow them. Yeah. Other than that, you can seek help from the practical expert like BBC to guide you throughout the journey of reducing your emissions. Yeah. And the third one, the most importantly one, is you need to measure and manage. Like you need to measure the emissions accurately since the beginning so you can start it right. And after that, you need to monitor and reduce the emissions in advance, like what I mentioned just now, to reduce the potential costs and the penalties also.
Okay, cool. So I think from these 3 points, I believe our audience, if you are from the industry, you get some idea on where to start, how to start to prepare for this carbon trading. Okay, so if our audience, you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comments. So while waiting for your question, I have a question here. Okay, so Shu Hong, after you research, you study, you experience the carbon trading, what is your opinion about this?
Okay, I saw many information about this carbon trading, the bad news and the good news. So, but overall, I would still think this carbon trading is definitely a way to mitigate climate change.
Okay.
Because everything has a bad side there, also has a good side on that. sometimes, like what I say just now, the media, the internet always show us what they want us to believe. So we're only focusing on one side. So we are becoming more and more extreme. So yeah, especially now we need to really think independently and find the right path to do the right thing. Yeah, this is my opinion about this carbon trading.
Yeah, for sure. I also think that carbon trading is a way. It is a way to mitigate our climate change, but also not to forget how to adapt to it. Okay. So, but usually what we tell our clients is buying carbon credits to offset emissions is just a temporary, a short-term solution. You can directly see the effect, but you can still run your operations business as usual. So you don't do any changes, you still create waste, you still over consume the resources, the raw materials that you shouldn't. Then not only it will not help in reducing emissions, but it also costs you a lot because all those material it costs you money. So for me, my opinion is that we should always look into reducing your emissions from the source, like how we always encourage doing 3R. 3R in recycling, reduce first. So the first R is reduce first. Then only we look into the alternative way to offset your hard to abate emissions, such as through carbon trading, carbon buying carbon credits. Okay. All right. So while we now will proceed with the Q&A session. Okay. So if let's say you have any questions, feel free to drop it in our comments and we will answer it now. Okay, so let's go through the comments. So actually, before our live today, we already received a question from our, I would say our supporter lah, Jingwen. Hello, because I almost see her in every live. Okay, so she has a question about this the national commitment. Okay. So let's go through the questions.
Okay, so the question is like this. Actually, me and Jasin have different understanding on that question. So we will just answer based on our understanding. So from my understanding, the questions is like, if the carbon credits are utilized by the local factory, then can it still be counted in the national carbon offset? So the answer for this question is yes, because this national carbon offset is like a collective efforts of the companies, the factories, offsetting their emissions by using the carbon credits. So maybe you're asking on the risk of double counting, because to prevent this double counting, actually some of the countries, they already developed some national registry system to track the issuance and track the transfer, retirement of the carbon credit. So this is one of the mechanism can prevent this double counting. And this is for the ETS, the compliance carbon market. But how about the voluntary carbon market? For the voluntary carbon market, we still don't have a centralized registry for it. So that's normally operated by some organizations like Vera or Gold Standard. So they will be the one to monitor and to prevent the double counting.
Yes. So I think because our Malaysia, we also pledged to achieve net zero by 2050. So if let's say currently companies, they have carbon credit projects, they buy to offset their company level carbon emissions. Of course, this carbon trading the transactions still happen within Malaysia. Then last time I attended an event at Bank Negara Malaysia, and I talked to people from the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environmental Sustainability. Seems like the ministry is starting, they will have an agency to oversee the carbon credit projects in Malaysia, so that our government will have the data to know that, okay, how far are we in mitigating this climate change? Okay. All right. So, Jingwen, if we answered your question, you can tell us. If no, then please help us to maybe rephrase or type in your question in the comment now. Okay. All right, so we have other questions from the floor. So there's one from Victor. Okay, so Victor asked, can tree planting be related to carbon trading? Okay, so this thing, Victor, I believe maybe perhaps because I cannot see where you come from, but I assume you are from the corporate. Okay, you're a corporate member. Someone you know, is it?
Someone I know. I think it's together with Yan Ling.
From Zeus.
Yep.
Okay. So since you are a corporate member, then you have your scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions. Then maybe usually this is what happened to a client. They have a piece of vacant land behind their factory, and they say, let's plant some trees on that piece of land to offset our emissions. Does this work? No. Okay, so because if you want to do such claims you will need to go through a proper procedure to measure the carbons that are avoided or reduced from your tree planting. So there's some calculation maths in it, and need to verify by third party. So usually these carbon credits that already on sale on the trading platform, it's a historical data. So meaning the carbon credits is from maybe 2010 until 2020. So the tree already grow until a bigger size, and they already based on the biomass, everything, they calculated that the tree already reduce such amount of carbon. So if let's say today you're just about to plant a tree which is maybe just 30 cm tall, and you want to claim that you offset emissions, that doesn't work lah. Okay.
Yeah, but I think this tree planting is more on the nature-based solutions for generating these carbon credits, right? There are also another solutions we call tech-based solutions, like the introducing or generating the electricity from the renewable energy source, or maybe the CCUS, like the capture carbon and put it into the sinks, something like that. Yeah. Just an add-on.
Okay. All right. So, but still, don't because of doing tree planting cannot help you to offset your emissions, then you say, I don't want to do tree planting anymore. That's very sad, you know. So if you want to see it as a CSR activity, as a team bonding, team building activity, just do it, because still we human, we belongs to the nature. If we reconnect ourselves to nature, go into the nature more, you'll get some inspiration from the nature on how do you want to integrate this ESG in your company. So go out there, get out there, just enjoy the nature. Okay, don't think about can I claim carbon offset from this activity.
Yeah, we need to start it from a real intention to protect this
earth. To do it genuinely, so that you can avoid greenwashing. Okay, so talking about greenwashing, I saw one comment about a question about greenwashing as well. Okay, so there's a question from Tan Lim Shun Fu. Okay, so how a company can claim the carbon credits after purchase in order to avoid greenwashing. Okay, so I see these questions for two parts. Okay, I'll answer the first part first. How can a company claim the carbon credit after purchase? And then next is to avoid greenwashing. So for the first part is, okay, if you are a participant on the trading market, example BCX, then after you purchase, you are just holding on to the carbon credits. You need to retire it. So meaning when you retire it, this carbon credit is not sellable on the trading platform anymore. So when you retire this carbon credit, then you can claim it to offset your emissions. Okay, so the key point here is to retire the carbon credit from the carbon market. Okay, for the second part of your question, avoid greenwashing. Now you need to have a proof that you purchase this carbon credit from this platform and you own it because you retired it already, because we don't want to say that you just purchase it, you hold on to it in the trading market, and then you put up in your ESG report saying that you claim the carbon offset. Then maybe one day you sell it off again. Then you sell it again, meaning this carbon credit is not retired. Then other company can claim that they also use this carbon offset. So there will be double counting law. One carbon credit but used by two different companies to do carbon offset. Okay, so Another thing is about greenwashing, as we mentioned, I think in the slides, is to check the credibility. Is there any controversial issue, any conflict regarding the project? So this is up to company because you are the buyer. So I will say you will have the responsibility to make a wise choice lah. Okay, of course, the government, the trading platform, the verifier, they also have the responsibility to make sure that only credible quality carbon credit projects are approved.
Just like what I say, trust but verify just now.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
we need to
trust but
verify the
verify.
truth beyond the information you got.
Okay. Okay, now we have another. Oh yeah, I think Jingwen replied us. So Jingwen asked, that means that the sold traded carbon credit to be counted in our national carbon emission offset, that particular credit cannot be sold to companies from other countries. Yeah. So one is I would say once it's retired lah, then you cannot put it back into the trading activity anymore.
Yeah, because all of the carbon credits they have their own serial number, right? So after that, the serial number, specific serial number is retired, and we cannot sell it to other countries or other companies.
Yeah. Okay. So if our audience, you have any questions, you can put it up in the chat because we'll end our live at 2 p.m. sharp. Okay. So if you have any questions, then I think maybe we can take up one or two more lah. Okay. While waiting for your questions, maybe we can look into the other questions that we always receive from our clients, because we help our clients to measure and report their carbon emissions based on ISO 14064-1 standard, and also for the carbon footprint ISO 14067. And sometimes after a report comes up, they'll also be wondering, okay, how can I reduce it? Is there any way can I use REC or that kind of question, you know? So here I will check one of the most commonly asked questions. So what are the differences between REC and carbon credit?
The REC, from my understanding, the REC is it represents the generation of renewable energy from the source like the solar energy, biomass, wind. Yeah, so it's more focused on the scope 2 emissions.
Okay.
Yeah, so but about the carbon credits, it represents a reduction of GHG emissions. So which means it other than just focusing on the scope 2 emissions, it also focuses on scope 1 and scope 3 also. So it can address the emissions from all these three scopes.
Oh, so from my understanding is, if I buy renewable energy certificates, I can only offset it for my scope 2 emissions, because scope 2 emission is from purchased electricity. But if I purchase carbon credit, then I can use it to offset scope 1, scope 2, scope 3.
Yeah, true.
Okay, I get it. Okay, I think we have one last question. Okay, one last question from Lun. So he asked, I will show it so everyone can have a look. Okay, can carbon credits be traded internationally?
Okay, so for these questions, the answer is yes, because actually I think it's from the Article 17 of Kyoto Protocol and also Article 6 of Paris Agreement. So it actually allows the companies, the countries to trade their carbon credits internationally. Yeah. So but for this, the companies or the countries, they need to develop their own policies to really determine what is the eligible carbon credits they are trading. Like some of the country, they might also sign agreement or MOU with other country before they trade. So to make sure this carbon credits is credible enough for them to like offset their emissions.
Okay, cool. All right. Oh wow! At the last minute, we have another 2 questions coming up. Okay, so let's see from Victor. Yeah, what are some platforms or places we can buy carbon credits?
So for this, I think Jasin mentioned just now, like the BCX Bursa Carbon Exchange Malaysia. So it works as a voluntary carbon market in Malaysia, right? So they also provide this exchange platform for these carbon credits, voluntary carbon credits. So if you want to really buy or sell your carbon credits, you can just register.
From Hafiz. All right. Before the session close, okay, who police or monitor so that REC and carbon credit does not get claimed simultaneously? This one, I think I have an answer. So there's two ways for you to buy REC or carbon credit. So one way is you go direct to the project owner, the project proponent, directly buy from them. And then, of course, there will be some contract. So you need to make sure that, as Shu Hong mentioned just now, there's serial number. So you need to make sure that documentation is properly done. Okay. So another way is when you put it up on the trading platform. So any buyer can buy the carbon credit or REC from any seller on that trading platform. So here, the key point is who monitor. So if it's on the trading platform, of course, the trading platform, the owner will have the responsibility to make sure that there is no people or company buy the same carbon credit and use it simultaneously. So, and if they buy it directly from the company has a responsibility. And I believe that in Malaysia, so far we don't have a national police yet, but I can see signs of it that a Ministry of Natural Resources and Environmental Sustainability, from what I see, I understand from their initiative, they might be the one lah. But for this, we'll still need to keep ourselves updated with the recent development from the government. Yeah, so for now, it still goes back to the buyer and seller. You have to hold your integrity. Okay, so I think we have quite I would say active participants today. So thank you very much for your questions, and we hope that you enjoy this session. Yeah, Shu Hong, have you anything to say?
No, actually, I'm just excited because this is my first live session in BBC. So I'm happy to see there are so many participants, so many active participants actually, asking questions. And this carbon trading is actually a very interesting topic. So hope that this is really a way to mitigate the climate change in the future.
Yeah, so it's very special today, the live session today, because we have two speakers here interacting. Hope you like our interaction with you today. So if you need any guidance on measuring your carbon emissions and discover is there any opportunities to start reducing them, so remember to call us at 038081 9069. Okay. So I think thank you you guys for today, and I will see you in the next live. Bye.
Bye bye.